Heyo, welcome back to Thoughts and Opinions Are Our Own. I'm Jordan.
And I'm Kirk.
Welcome back, Kirk.
Yes, this is it. Season 2 finale.
Yay!
We did it, Jordan. We've successfully completed our second season.
Hey, let's go.
On the pod. We know we didn't have as many episodes this year.
So sorry,
compared to the first season.
The writers, we negotiated with them, and
but we can proudly say we think we are getting ready for
We're coming back.
Season 3, yes.
Season 3.
We think season 3 is coming
Woo-hoo!
soon. So again, we appreciate all of our loyal listeners, and we appreciate your patience, your kindness, your support in listening to Jordan and me in our pod. So
thank you. And if you're listening to this on the way to your in-laws for the holidays.
Because the holidays are coming.
God bless.
Yes.
Highly recommend stopping at Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts or Tim Hortons, any bakery to help you caffeinate your way through the holidays.
Jordan, recently there was some big news.
Oh my God.
With social media, Twitter,
Oy.
Whether Twitter was actually going to keep going or not.
R.I.P.
Yeah, well. So I know you do the social media, you do the
sure
Twitter.
Do.
Is it the Snapchat, the Instagram?
Yes.
You know what's going on with that.
I do. And I was actually on Instagram recently, and I saw this post, and it was a Christian post. It was on my Explore page. Okay. So on Instagram, you have a couple of different pages, and I was on it, and I was just randomly scrolling, and I saw there was this picture of all this basket and a fruit, and it looked like a little cartoon one, and it was super cute. So I clicked on it, and it was talking about the fruit of the Spirit. The
fruit of the Spirit.
Yes, and for those people that aren't Christian out there and are like, what are they talking about? But
so talking spiritually, the fruit of the Spirit, yes.
Yes, we as Christians believe that there are a few characteristics that Paul talks about in Galatians, and it's called the fruit of the Spirit.
Okay.
And I'm going to read to it.
Yes, fruit of the Spirit, yes.
So it's Galatians 5:22, and it says, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. And basically, I grew up in the church where sometimes the pastor would do a series on each one.
Yep.
And I know sometimes that there are camps where they'll combine it together. The others one kind of near us, it's called FHOLA. It's Faith, Hope, and Love. Even though hope is not
FHOLA.
That's
Faith,
fun.
Hope, Love. Yep.
Even though hope isn't a fruit of the Spirit. But fruit of the Spirit, it's kind of thrown around a lot. And I think people will mention it in passing, but they never really go in depth with it. And I clicked on it, and the kindness actually stood out to me. Mm-hmm. And I had this really deep reality. I was at work, and I'm like, this is really deep right now. I'm on Instagram, and I had this reality moment that Jesus never said as a Christian you were to be nice. He said as a Christian you were to be kind.
So be kind instead of being nice. You can be nice.
Yeah.
But kindness means you're kind of going the extra mile than just being nice.
You're more genuine. You're more authentic.
You're more invested in someone.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not just doing this just to look it in front of everyone. In my heart, at my core, I really am a caring person that is really trying to be kind to you at this moment.
Okay.
And I think it really speaks about your character and volume. And I think there's a reason why Paul wrote part of the Spirit is to be kind and not nice. And I think right now in the world, we can use a lot of kindness right now. The world is totally jacked up. And with everything going on, I feel there's been a lot of just hatred and anger and bitterness and
meanness. Yeah. There's mean people out there.
Yeah. And, you're starting, I don't know about you, but for me, I'm starting to see more and more signs now. I don't know where I was, a store or somewhere. And it was be kind to the people that actually showed up to work today. And,
the cash register people, right? The cashiers, yep. The salespeople.
And I mean, I've worked customer service. People can be really nasty and rude, and I know the excuse I give is okay, they're not acting normal, right? When I was a barista, they haven't had their cup of coffee yet. Maybe they just really need it. Maybe they've had a rough morning. I have no idea what they're coming into. Or, when I'm working at the doctor's office right now, I mean, no one wants to go to the doctor's for fun. Or when you go to the dentist, and I mean, it is always nice when they are kind of perky and they're trying to make you feel more comfortable. When I worked at Kohl's as a customer service, I mean, a lot of people, especially around this time of year, would come because they got the wrong present. Either someone, someone gave them the wrong thing, or they bought someone the wrong thing, and they're like, just give me the cash credit. And I know the holidays kind of like heightens everyone's, I don't know, like attitude a bit. They're all like, oh my gosh, like everything just like has to be perfect. But I definitely feel like we can for sure be more kind as a society, as like humans. And I think way back in the day, people were really kind, you know, like when the immigrants came over here, they had no idea what was going on. And I think when the other people that were already here and established just opened up their home and were like, hey, like, come on in, like, let's bake you a meal.
I would say some people were nice to the immigrants. Some people were not so nice. So, and therein lies, that example right there. Like, everybody has free will.
Yeah.
All 8 billion of us on the planet today, we all have a free will. We can all decide, hey, am I going to put out some kindness into the universe, or am I going to put out some meanness into the world?
Yeah.
Am I going to be a kind, like you said, compassionate, invested person in other people, empathetic and what people are going through? Or I'm just going to be selfish and kind of carnal. Hey, man, it's about me. Like, I don't care about you. You're goofy. You're different than I am, and you talk different, and you smell different than I don't like you. And so then you can just, you can just be mean to people, But I think you're right, though. I think there have been, hopefully.
I always think of like, the traditional, I don't know, like the 1950s, like, hey neighbor, can I just borrow a cup of sugar? And you're like, oh, why don't you come on over for a casserole? Or, like, I don't know, here in the Midwest, potlucks are really big. So
potlucks are big in the Midwest. Yeah. In America, you are correct.
So whenever you know someone that's like pregnant, you like try to like gather a group of people and you're like, we're just baking casseroles or like a funeral on the more like sober note. But
you're trying to do something, again, you realize somebody, either you're celebrating with them or they're going through a rough time. You're right. And you're trying to help them.
Like, hey, like dinner's on me.
I was thinking about you.
Home-cooked meal.
I was thinking about you.
Or
maybe this can help.
Here's a gift card for Uber Eats. What do you need help with?
Yep.
Do you have a story of someone being kind or you being kind to someone?
Yes. I was thinking about it was exactly 6 years ago today. So it was November of 2016. I was a tennis and basketball coach. I was multitasking at a local university here.
When are you not multitasking?
Here in Metro Detroit area, and I remember it was a Saturday morning. It was again middle, right? 6 years ago. It was middle of November.
It was cold.
2016. And the weather was warm, but it was just starting to get cold. So it was right before Thanksgiving. It was just starting to get cold. We had like a warm week leading up to that Saturday. So anyhow, I had a recruit that I was trying to get to come to this university and play tennis for me. And his name is Nick, I remember. And he's tall. He was like 6'5", 6'6". He was a big dude.
Dude, I wish I was 6'5".
And he was from Illinois, so he was out of state. So I was trying to make he was taking time out of his busy schedule. It was on a weekend. So he was doing, remember, I met him real briefly in the morning at the main admissions building, and he was going to go on the campus tour. Sure. And I said, okay, you're going to have like a guide, kind of one of the fellow students, show you around, you and your family. I'll meet you back in like 45, 50 minutes and we'll talk tennis. He goes, okay, coach. So off Nick goes with his tour guide and the family. Well, I had actually, when I woke up that morning, I woke up a little late. And not that I was looking a professional, but I didn't really shave. I remember.
A little rough around the edges
so
there.
This is a true story. I grabbed my shaving kit and I'm like, you know what? While Nick is on the tour, I'll kind of, I'll freshen up a little bit. So, and I did that. And so I remember I walked across campus from the admissions building all the way over to the gym because I was coaching tennis and basketball kind of at the same time. And I brought my shaving kit and I, shaved and, looked hopefully better to Nick and his family. And as I was leaving the gym, this is a true story. I'm not making this up.
No cap.
No cap. I heard this little meow. It was like meow, 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 meow. And I looked around. I'm like, who's meowing? You hear like the birds.
And like no one was around.
Oh, right? No, it was like early Saturday morning. Yeah. Again, I think the students were either, sleeping in or whatever. And I'm looking around, not a lot of people. But I kept hearing this meow, 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 meow. And I'm like, and I said out loud, and there was no one else around me. I said out loud, I'm like, who's meowing? Who's saying these things?
Oh my gosh.
So I crossed over the road, and behind this little bush, there was a little orange fluffy kitten. Oh. And he was by himself. And I remember he was shivering because it had just turned cold. And Jordan, I mean, he was, so I went over, and the first thing, when he saw me come on, first thing he did was he hissed at me. And I'm like, okay, I said, oh, come on now. And so he let you pick him? I picked him up. Okay. I picked him up with my shaving kit. He didn't try biting you? I picked him up, and I remember he was shivering. He was so cold. And then I put him next to me, and I could feel him. And he was so small, he literally could fit in my right hand, the palm of my right hand. I could feel his rib cage. Aww. So I knew he was either lost or he was abandoned. And he had some dirt and oil and fleas on. Anyhow, it was kind of gross. So I had, again, after I had shaved, now I've got 25, 30 minutes till Nick's coming back. So I'm like, well, what am I going to do with this little kitten? And I'm looking around. There's nobody else around. So I'm thinking, I think he's abandoned. I think he's abandoned. Yeah. So I'm like, do I take him to the Humane Society? But I know what happens there. And or do I bring him home? Do I bring him home, or do I call up one of my, basketball, tennis? Yeah. Hey, would you like a pet? For your dorm, whatever. So I brought him home. I'm speeding, and in fact, I remember he hid underneath the passenger seat. I'm speeding to get home. We live about 10 minutes away from the campus. And then I told you, hey, I have a surprise. And
I remember that. So I remember I was like, I think I just washed my face, brushed my teeth. And you were right. It was cold. And I was trying to figure out what to put on. And I was looking for my long sleeve. And I remember I put it on and I was buttoning it. And you're like, hey. You're like, I have a surprise. Yes. I'm like, okay. And you open up your hands, and there's this orange little cat is looking at him, and his eyes were so big. Yes. And I think you're right. He was shivering. Yes. And we had to figure out what to do. Mom, I think, was working out. She was working. She wasn't home. She was at the gym. So I had to get her involved. So she comes back. And now I'm like, I gotta go. Nick's coming back in you rescued a kid 5 minutes. Dumped it off. I literally have to go. I gotta meet Nick in 5 minutes. So I handed the kitten off to Mom, and Mom knew what to do. She took him to the vet. They cleaned him up. They said he's about 6 weeks old. They said he was a boy. So I think they, gave him some medicine or some shots, whatever. And I remember they washed him, and then they said that they did the hair dryer on him. Yes. Because he was so cold. And I remember he came home, and I think he didn't like the noise. I remember I was just holding him, and he wanted to snuggle right on my right shoulder neck where my hair, because my hair was down. Yeah. And I remember he just wanted to be warm. And it took a couple of days before he stopped shivering.
And I mean, he was hungry too. You could tell he was. And he had
the cutest little meow.
6 years later, Butterscotch is still
with us. Butterscotch, yay!
Butterscotch, thanks for being part of the family.
Is he in the studio with us? Yes,
he is here. He's right here. So it's his.
And he's not a little 6 week kitty anymore.
No, he's
20 pounds.
He's about 20 pounds. So he went from a little, probably 1 pound to 20 pounds 6 years later. We love him. I love him dearly.
Oh my gosh, he's great.
And he is one of the 3 cats that we had Hadley at the time when I found Butterscotch. We had Hadley. We'd had her about 2 years. And then since we got Butterscotch, we've added Adeline. So now we have 3 cats.
It's fun. It was really funny to see he got bigger than Hadley.
Yes, he continued to, he grew really fast. And so he has added so much to our family. So I had heard about, people rescuing animals. I had never done it before until 6 years ago. So in honor of him, but also, yes, in keeping with the kindness theme, I really felt like I was being kind to
for sure,
to the animal kingdom. And I know I remember you a couple years ago, you had a car incident and somebody helped you out when you were looking for maybe meowing. You were asking for somebody from help.
So first of all, big girl move on my part. I paid that car off. Yay!
Yes, congratulations.
We're celebrating on this
podcast. Yes, you paid the car off. It is legally yours now. Very good.
My credit score is about to boost.
Your credit score is going up. Yep, very good.
So I think, I don't know if it was the same time you got Butterscotch. I think it was a year or two after.
It was a few years ago.
I remember Mom has a good family friend, and she's an interior designer. And one of the classes I was taking, I had to interview someone in a topic I was interested in, and I like a lot of topics. I gotta commit to something out here. Anyway, I remember I was on my way to meet her for dinner because I had to interview her about the business, how it works, and it was one of the main roads here in Metro Detroit. And my car, I was at a red light. Yeah, and I remember it was green, and I was like. how come I can't go? And I was like, and I like put like all of my weight and my foot on the gas. It was like, but it wasn't moving. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, am I in neutral? And like immediately, again, the adrenaline started to go. I started to shake. Just goes, and it was rush hour. And there's this long line behind me. And now everyone's like honking at me. Then people realize like, oh, like this car's not going. Having a moment, right? And I'm like, and I called everyone I knew and no one answered. And I was, again, freaking out. I was like in my early 20s. Lots of people gave me the bird and I was like, really? Like, I was just like freaking out.
That would be the meanness.
The mean side.
So instead of helping you out, like, they were being mean to you because they were trying to get around you.
I was like, name of Jesus, this isn't happening right now. And I almost cried, but I'm like, oh, I gotta meet her. Like I gotta meet the friend. And so like I had all these thoughts and this guy comes up to me. I'm like, oh no. He's like, hey, do you need help? I'm like, yeah, my car won't go. He's like, okay, like I'll help push you out.
So he saw you were you weren't moving and you were going to be there unless somebody helps you.
Yeah, I was like stranded in the middle and it's at a main intersection too. So I know I caused a backup. So if you were that backup, I am so sorry. Oh my gosh, it was disastrous. And then this other guy saw that he was pushed in. And then I had two guys.
Two guys got out.
Yeah, they were in the back of my car and they pushed me. And they're like, you steer it. Like we'll push you over to like one of the side stores. And I did. And I'm like, thank you guys so much. And then they like disappeared. And I've never been able to thank them. So if you helped me.
If you're listening.
Thank you so much. Thank you for
helping Jordan. Yep. And her Ford Focus car.
Oh my gosh, that was crazy. And then I told the family friend what was going on. And she's like, okay, like, don't worry. Like, I'll meet you. So she found me at the, I think it was like a side store or whatever. And she was like, I'll just wait with you till we get to the tow truck. Yeah. So then he showed up. He's like, oh, I've never seen anything like this before. I'm like, that's not what I want to hear right now. He's like, oh, like your steering wheel's locked up. I'm like, yeah, dude, yeah. So it turned out it was my transmitter. It had like died and it like had completely like crashed everything.
Right there at the intersection.
Oh my gosh, that was awful. But the friend was so like those two guys were kind because they totally helped me and they didn't have to like otherwise they probably would have. I mean, they saw me struggling, so that was very kind of them. And then when the family friend came and she just waited with me, that was so kind of her. Yeah. And then she drove me home too because then I didn't have a car. So I don't know, those stories, they kind of remind me of the Good Samaritan. And I think we've talked a lot about that here on the pod too, where, you know, if you see someone struggling, just be kind.
Go the extra mile for them. Yeah.
You know, being nice is all, I don't know.
You can smile, you can say, have a nice day. You can open the door for someone.
Yeah. I think America tries to be kind, but I think here in America, we're like very nice about it. And if you're international and you're listening in a different country, I don't know, like what your culture society does, but
I think some cultures, you're right. I think some communities,
they're definitely better at being kind.
They preach kindness better probably than in America. But I also think, you know, old school rock and roll tune from back in the 80s, the rock band called Rat, R-A-T-T. They sing a song called Round and Round. And one of the lyrics is, what comes around goes around.
Sure.
And so I think some people realize, some people might call it karma.
Oh, yeah. Taylor Swift on her new Midnight album. It's called Karma.
I think the world realizes, whether they believe in God, they believe in the, you know, supernatural. I think the world realizes, hey, there is something to what you put out is going to come back.
Definitely.
And if you put out hate, if you put out negativity, if you put out meanness, that's coming back to you. It's a boomerang. Shoom, 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 shoom. It's coming back to you. And if you put out,
might take a couple of years.
Yeah, but the boomerang's coming back. And I think also people realize there probably are some nice people who are putting some, you know, really generosity out into there, or charities, foundations, and, you know, maybe, you know, wealthy people, celebrities, whatever. And they're like, you know what, just in case, you know, there is like a God, just in case there is, you know, an eternity after this world, you know, I should probably be nice and kind too, and generous with people who don't have like what I have. They don't have the financial wealth that I have. They don't have the opportunities for the resources that I have. And so I think the world realizes, hey, there is something to, you know, being kind. And it's the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And so if you're putting out some good vibes into the world, hopefully someone will be good to you, as those guys did.
Yeah.
When they helped you with your car. And so I really believe that. And
I always think, especially at this time of year with the holidays,
yeah.
and Mom likes the story, The Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens.
Oh yeah.
With Ebenezer Scrooge.
Oh, Scrooge.
And he literally had a wake-up call. Yeah. He's like, yo, like, I've got to change my life. I don't want to be like my partner who's dead and is in shackles. And like, I have this great opportunity to help my employee and with his son who like desperately needs the medical care. And I think that is a great story too. Like, even without the whole like Christmas aspects, like just be kind to anybody, everybody.
Well, I think that's a challenge to us, obviously, and to our listeners. Again, we have free will. We have, most of us have a conscience, and some kind of moral, ethical, vibe, hopefully. And you realize there's good and there's bad. And so, which side am I on? Am I going to be mean? Am I going to put mean out into, again, we talked about that earlier. There's so many mean people in the world right now. And sadly, Jordan, we hear about that. We hear about the meanness. We hear about the haters. We hear about just the
trolls.
They're cruel. They really are cruel. The bullies of the world. And so somehow they get on the news. And so obviously it would be better I think for the world, be healthier for the world if more people chose to be nice and really kind and go the extra mile and really say, hey, you know what, I have an opportunity here to, I'm either going to be mean or I'm going to be kind. And
it's super simple too. Like, if, you're headed into work and you see someone's behind you, like, yeah, you can hold the door open for them. But like, if you see like they have extra stuff, you can be like, oh, like, let me help you carry one of this stuff. Or,
you got it.
Hey, I got the next door. Like, don't worry about it. And they'll be like, oh, wow. Like, that's like really kind of them to do that.
Yes. And so there you go. So I think we both have shared, somebody was kind to you, and those two guys were kind to you, and I was kind to, of course, Butterscotch.
I should really be kind to someone.
And so, then there you go. Then pay it forward.
Definitely.
Oprah. I remember I saw this quote a few days ago from Oprah. It said, "To move forward, you have to give back."
Oh,
Oprah
that's really deep.
Okay, Oprah, that is deep. To move forward,
you gotta
give back. You gotta give back to what other people, where it came from, and be appreciative that they were, they helped you get where you are. So again, that's a challenge for this pod. I think again, we're hoping most of you will choose kindness over meanness. And again, we all have that free will. We can decide to do one or the other, but hopefully
here we go.
In the spirit of moving the world forward in a positive way for Oprah,
please be kind to everyone.
Let's try to be kind to one another, because I think that the world is in desperate need of it. So,
for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for listening for our second season.
Second season. We ended it. We did it. Second season.
Thank you for
grand
your
finale.
Loyalty. I don't know when season 3 will be coming back. Hopefully sometime soon. Like we said, we talked to the writers about it.
Negotiations, Jordan. We're in negotiations for season 3.
Thank you guys again so much. And we're looking forward to talking to you guys on season 3.
Season 3. Rock and roll.